Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Survivor 44, episode 5. This is an episode where, well, let's face it, we kind of all knew about 50 minutes in, and there wasn't a tribal council yet, that Matthew was going to be evacuated.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it was a tough loss. I mean, he's wanted to be there for years. He's been
Yeah.
training for years, but at the same time, Jeff is coming out there being like, "Man, you got injured playing the game." No, he didn't. He got injured climbing a rock because he was excited on day 2 and he fell. Accidents happen and
Yeah.
choices happen and he chose to be messing around on this rock and that's what happened. But Jeff being all like, "You got injured playing the game." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It's
Uh,
okay, but no, you
Yeah,
didn't.
I feel really bad for Matt, mostly because Matthew's probably going to be off like kicking himself for I don't know months or years on end over this. I actually I don't even love returning players all that much, but I kind of hope he comes back
Oh, me
because
too.
he really seemed to be open to being a villain, and I'm just sort of like, you know what? I want people who are really unafraid to sort of get their hands dirty in the game. But yeah, Jeff saying that was kind of ridiculous. And still, see, usually we can tease up, huge strategy, big moves, run through what happened at Tribal. Here's the tease that I got in my head for this. This episode contained what may very well be the funniest thing that I have seen on Survivor in at least, I don't know, a few years, just when it comes to a pure quote. There was about a 2 minute section of this episode where I was just like dying, laughing out loud to myself.
Well, we'll get into all of that and more, but before we do, hit that subscribe button. We are here every week, every Wednesday after the episode,
Yes.
talking about the episodes, getting into some of the strategy and the things that have gone on in Tribal Council, except, of course, there's no Tribal Council tonight. But,
Yeah.
if you hit that subscribe button, you can stick with us and, talk with everybody in the comments. There's always good discussion going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks you guys who have been a part of our discussion so far this season.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll start with the pseudo strategy because I think that everything that was going on back at the Tika camp after this immunity challenge, I think all of it was kind of fantastic because I think usually when people are going to tribal, production like tries to mask certain things as to
Mhm.
what's going to happen, where do people land. But because we all knew that there wasn't going to be a tribal at that point, just seeing them all be so open and so crazy was ridiculous. And yet we still don't actually know what Jam Jam was going to do.
If Jam Jam was smart after hearing like Carolyn went on this boat ride and ended up with Brandon and Danny who
Yeah.
had this huge bro fest and basically were acting like she wasn't even there. They were kind of like, "Oh, I kind of hope you're going to make it cuz basically you're someone that, I can beat, but if you don't, man, Josh is our guy." And giving that information to Carolyn where Josh is not going to help keep Josh in a safe place so that Danny and Brandon can actually have Josh when the merge happens. Like, I've been saying this since the beginning. People are really underestimating her. And she even was saying that in her own sort of head, where she was kind of like, people are underestimating me. They think that I'm not playing because I'm not winning challenges. And it's not all about winning challenges. She's like, I have an idol. I placed a fake idol. I put together a really great blind side. It's 4 episodes at that point that she's just kind of like, how would none of this matter? What have you guys done? Like, come on.
Carolyn is amazing. I just got to
Oh, I
start
know.
by saying not only is it her gameplay, but it's sort of like she has this Jim Halpert quality where you just sort of pan on her when something is happening and her facial reaction, and even like she'll even like use her whole body, like while the meat brigade was meeting at this journey. She was sitting there at one point. She was her arms were just like sprawled everywhere. She had this look on her face that was like, can somebody just like extract me via crane
I
from the
totally get it.
situation?
It's so frustrating. Like, and this is the only thing that I've been worried for Carolyn about
Yeah.
is that she's going to have a difficult time really explaining and showing all the stuff that she's done. And And because of her personality, she's kind of in this unfortunate situation where she has to do more than
Yeah.
other people would have to do, so that when she gets to the end, because I think she's going to get to the end,
Yeah.
she can really rattle off a whole bunch of things that she has done to get to the end. And, I think coming back to your original question, would Jam Jam have sent home Josh? If he was smart, yeah, he would have. He knows that he's got this sad fake idol that they both know isn't real. And it's that information that Carolyn came back with. Hey, Danny and Brandon, they want, when they get to the merge, they're going to be with Josh. That's a trio. We need to take care of this now. If we don't, you and I are in trouble. They're not over there talking about me. They're not talking about you, Jam Jam. They're talking about Josh.
Are those the beats from Tree Mail? That is the fun. This is the moment. That was the funniest thing I have seen on this show. And so Josh's reaction to it, the audacity of Jam Jam to just even say that to his face, because at times we have sort of made fun of Jam Jam for being a little bit too, hey, look how crazy I am, and sort of being a little too full of his own game, but I have never appreciated Jam Jam's social arrogance more than I did him straight up asking, and then Josh's idol just falling apart in his hand. Josh is I mean, I have so much respect for Josh as a person, like hearing his story and hearing what he's overcome. Like, that's incredible. I say that because Josh is also so bad at this game in a lot of ways, where it's just like, if you're gonna have a fake idol, you have to make it believable. You have to tie the knots correctly. You can't take the beats off of Tree Mail.
The other thing that I thought was just such a weird, bad move by Josh is not just sticking with Carolyn, who just proved herself to him, that if he then continued to nurture that relationship to be like, man, you really had me, I really have you. It's you and me till the end, and I'm going to prove it to you over and over again. Carolyn would have stuck with him. I know she really loves Jam Jam. We all do. He's great TV and he seems like he's a great person, but she's already betrayed him. So for Carolyn to get that trust back, it's going to be kind of iffy. Josh didn't really have that trust with him either. I know that they do have a bond now, but he already had that bond with Carolyn. And Carolyn is the type of person that it feels like you really do have to nurture that relationship, and she will ride with you.
It's what makes the Jam Jam situation so fascinating, because if they had gone to tribal, like let's say this hypothetically, he was going to tribal with two people he already knows he can't trust. One of them made a terrible fake idol, and the other one just completely blindsided him at this past tribal. Like, I do think in my heart he would have kept Carolyn, and I think it just comes down to the fact that everything Carolyn said about the meat brigade, that has to be terrifying. You don't want to go there with all of these muscular bros, and beyond all of that, you already know that he's coming in from another tribe, and at that point, you know that he probably has some sort of allies, especially because he came in talking about how good of a spot he was in, even though he really wasn't. Once again, facepalm Josh, so apparently I guess Danny does want to work with you, so you have that going for you.
Yeah, that's the thing is, Josh came in really strong. Oh yeah, man, I was in such a great spot in my other tribe. And then Carolyn comes back with this information basically being like, it's true. That, this is going to end up being a thing at merge. So, Jam Jam, what are we going to kind of do sort of thing. And it was sort of shortly after that Jam Jam called out the fake idol. And that's why I think he was going to end up calling out Josh and voting him out, because I mean, he wouldn't have called that out if he wasn't planning to do something.
Congratulations, Josh. You got a little bit lucky this week. That's okay. Luck happens sometimes in Survivor. I will say this. My feeling about Merge Boot Danny being the Merge Boot has increased exponentially in this episode. Like, he was already fully there, and it seems like now, especially, he's given Carolyn all this information. He is clearly so full of himself to the point that he's willing to have a conversation in front of someone he doesn't really want to work with about working with this other person. He is going to be way, way too ego inflated, just like out here to ever even think about playing that idol at this next tribal council.
His behavior was shocking.
Yeah.
Like, as far as gameplay, shocking that he would have that type of a conversation and exclude the person that's there. And then they were kind of having this conversation to Carolyn about Carolyn, that she's not really a threat. She's not really in anything. Oh, yeah, I hope you come along because, you know, you're going to be somebody that's, you know, easy to beat kind of thing. It was shocking because you don't know what else she has going back on at the tribe, what other relationships she has, like, or just even really much about her, how she's able to play, how much people like her or don't like her. They don't know anything. So yeah, I was shocked. Like, that whole scene, I was just like, I can't believe you guys are having this type of a strategy talk and not even pretending that she's part of it.
I'm about to do something that's pretty rare for me in these Survivor videos. I'm going to tip the metaphorical cap to Jeff Probst here, who, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he had like an advantage in his hand and he was like running over there to plant it, and they were like, no, Jeff, you can't do it. There's too many things in the game already. There was no advantage over here. This is why this is great. Everyone's gonna think that there's a million crazy advantages. So now these people are subjected to just like insane amounts of paranoia from everybody else for something that they didn't even get. Which brings me to my main point here. If I was playing Survivor, I would like attach myself with, I don't know, whatever like adhesive I could to the tribe beach that I am currently sitting on. You ain't sending me on a journey. I don't want to have anything to do with any journey whatsoever.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Like, the minute that it was like, oh, and Carolyn's gonna go, I'm like, well, there goes Carolyn, because we've got Josh over here with Yam Yam, and they've already been kind of bonding, and you're gonna now, I mean, she didn't have a choice, but now she's having to leave these two alone for even longer, for how many hours? Like, it's not good. And, you know, nothing great came from her being over there, except having the information about Josh. But is it enough to keep her there?
I'm really curious to see what Carolyn's going to do moving forward at this point, how these three are ever going to operate. But let's shift over here to the other camps, because I think we're starting to get a better sense of the evolution of Jamie's character within the game of Survivor.
I just I love her. She's so, like, I'm not like I love her. She's a great player.
Yeah.
But oh my God, is she ever good TV?
You want to hear my Jamie impression now? I am the greatest communicator who ever lived. I can soar into the sky. I can blink and lightning bolts go out of my eyes. It's like, no one has ever loved themselves. And good on you for having this level of self-esteem, Jamie. But like, you think that you are the greatest person to have ever existed, that you know everything about the game. You talking yourself up as this insane asset who has two idols that are about to become zero idols, because once the merge, the other's not real. Matthew is gone. Matthew can't even tell you that idol is fake now. I am actually going to be very sad when she inevitably gets voted out at this point in some sort of comical fashion, because she's bringing so much to the TV.
She really, really is. She is. I need her to just follow me around and gas me up, like the way she gasses herself up. She's fantastic. So we saw her, of course, she's on a new tribe. She's trying to talk to Matthew, who's just kind of like, can I think about it? Like, I've known you for a second here. Like, it's been a minute. Can I have a minute? And she's just like, oh man, now I'm going to go over to Franny and be like, let's crap talk Matthew about everything. And she just really can't read the room like a Carolyn can, who can read situations like immediately.
It's just, she has no self-awareness. But you know what? That's great for television. That's fine. And you know what? It's
She's
apparently
wonderful.
it's a great thing for the Mad and Franny showmance, by the way, that like her
Oh yeah.
self-awareness is so terrible that apparently she can't pick up on how close. Because if I saw their like extended hug that they had in this episode, I was just like
Oh,
walking by. My heart would be exactly like that because I am rooting for.
ow,
I
they're so
know,
cute.
like they're the rare showmance we like and the rare showmance we root for. But if I'm playing the game, I am voting them out immediately. And I don't understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. But this is Jamie doesn't see that there's any connection
No,
there. To be fair, she's only been there a minute. Like I'll give her kind of a pass
yeah.
on that. Everyone else has kind of picked up on it, but they've all been living together on that beach a long time now. Jamie just got there. So it may have been, I mean, we don't know exactly when that was filmed or how
Yeah.
long she had actually been around or who she had actually been talking to. So I mean, she was really just there.
We now know though why Danny hasn't picked up on this. Merge boot Danny. He's been too busy in a different sort of showmance, a bromance with Brandon, who he clearly has been like looking at his tattoos every time they've gone to the challenges. He's been too transfixed on that, and of course his ultimate showmance, which is with himself, Danny. He's a very good on you for doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I understand how athletic you. By the way, you also tell me in the game you're doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm also voting you out.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I get what they're saying that with Danny and Brandon, where they were kind of like, guys like us don't usually win, like because we're
Yeah.
seen as more physical threats. Merge boot Danny, as you've been calling him, he's not wrong.
But
Like
yeah.
that is something that does and can happen. But it doesn't always happen. I mean, there are guys that are pretty physically strong, like Tony, that make it to the end and win.
Yeah, you gotta be bringing something else to the table. You can't just rely on your muscles, which is what makes it so funny that you spent the entire time with Brandon talking about your muscles.
Yeah, and ignoring Carolyn, who could have been an
No.
asset. You guys blew it.
Now, let's talk about the muscle of the mind here for a moment. The brain, because this is what Carson has got going on here with his new tribe, where apparently he is like having his nerd man's thing going on with Kane, which I kind of like them as an odd couple. I don't know why anybody else would want to see a nerd.
Odd couple, they are the same.
Okay,
Listen, we're part of that same group of nerds, although I'm probably the only nerd on the planet that doesn't like Lord of the Rings. I said it. I'm there.
why?
But it was interesting to watch them sort of talk and hit all the major, like Lord of the Rings, Jedi, Star Wars, whatever, that it's all the same sort of stuff that we all like, except Lord of the Rings. It's
Okay.
too long.
No. Okay, Carson though he's still playing. I don't know if he's playing Kane entirely, but he told us this is all intentional. He wants to get buddy with everybody. I think Carson is playing a very good game for someone who is so immediately that like Cochrane nerdy archetype that we would all just be like instantly terrified by.
Yeah, that's why it was interesting in this conversation where it's like, oh, we're nerds, so we're kind of the underdogs that no one's gonna
Yeah.
come after. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, nerds win Survivor all the time. Nerds win Big Brother all the time. Nerds win these shows all the time. Like, I don't know why you would think that you guys would be kind of under the radar. Carolyn is someone who's under the radar,
Yeah.
and not you guys.
No. I mean,
Guys.
I will enjoy watching them moving forward. I think if they get too close, it's going to be a big target. But yeah, I mean, in the end, this is about as fun of a predictable episode as we're going to get. Like
Yeah.
some of these episodes where somebody gets evacuated, sometimes you don't get anything and it's just sort of like ho hum, whatever. But I at least give the producers and the players some credit. They have given us a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I am not moving away from my Franny is the winner pick that, I think I said an episode or two ago, just because, we're seeing a lot of her. She hasn't had to make a lot of moves right now, but that's okay. I think this is where it's good to sort of have a sense of sort of safety and build relationships, and you can kind of use this to navigate moving forward. We'll really see what she's kind of made of as we kind of step ahead, but Carolyn's still a good pick.
Yeah, Carolyn is my pick. I mean, she's really scrappy, but more than any, and she is building up her resume and she's
Yeah.
been building it up early, but she can just read people really well. And I think that's that's why she is able to make these big blindsides like she did, last time, where it was like, oh, I'm kind of feeling like if these two both stay, that I'm going to be in the bottom of this trio. Okay, I'm going to move over to Josh where it'll be the two of us, at the top, and then, Jam Jam will be at the bottom, sort of thing. Or I can make some different moves after that and try to repair things. Like she reads people so well.
This is going to be a really fun next section of the game. Now, we have to go and make some fake idols, but, go
All
ahead
right.
and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other discussions we have. Also, if you guys are watching Succession, why shouldn't you, hang out, watch with us as well this
Yeah.
weekend?
Or Yellow Jackets. We're covering that. We just watched Ted Lasso last night. That's up
Yep.
here at the channels. All kinds of great stuff going on here.
So thank you guys. We'll see you here next time.